Today, we will discuss the great vehicle path, having completed generating motivation. Now, cultivating the two aspects of bodhicitta, this includes conventional and ultimate bodhicitta cultivation. This is absolutely crucial. If you study the 37 practices of a bodhisattva thoroughly, all the essential instructions are within it. For a Mahayana practitioner, studying just the 37 practices of a bodhisattva would enable them to complete all necessary practices comprehensively. First, we discuss cultivating conventional bodhicitta in two aspects: meditation on exchanging self and others, and post-meditation transformation of adverse conditions into the path. These are the two aspects we are considering. I created an outline for the 37 practices of a bodhisattva following the same structure. When we study the 37 practices of a bodhisattva, this outline alone provides basic understanding, but without proper commentary, complete comprehension of each verse's meaning may not be possible. The meaning of each verse. So when I was translating and proofreading this time, I thought that every Kempo and Kenmo should give explanations. And if every Buddhist could study these teachings carefully, that would basically be sufficient. That was always my thought at the time. So this time, I am simply reading it each day. But afterward, it depends on each individual circumstances. If someone is willing, they can still study it more deeply. Next, let's discuss meditative absorption on exchanging self and others. All suffering arises from seeking happiness for oneself. Perfect Buddhahood arises from the intention to benefit others. Therefore, truly exchanging one's happiness for others' suffering is the practice of a bodhisattva. Throughout all of samsara, all pain and suffering are caused by the desire for one's own happiness. And by cherishing and clinging to oneself, the ultimate happiness of perfect Buddhahood and all worldly and transcendent benefits are brought about by cherishing others and having an altruistic mind. Everyone should understand this. All happiness in the world is actually created through benefiting others. As for all suffering, it arises from selfishness and self-interest. Therefore, with the mindset of cherishing others more than oneself, one should offer all of one's happiness and goodness to sentient beings and thereby let go of oneself, taking upon oneself the suffering and negative karma of other sentient beings, thus exchanging suffering and happiness. Or simply exchange the attitude of cherishing oneself and neglecting others by truly transforming these two different attitudes. This is the practice of exchanging self and others that all followers of the Buddha cultivate. The way of the Bodhisattva states, if one truly wishes to swiftly protect oneself and others, one should practice the supreme secret, the exchange of self and others. If you wish to attain liberation in a very short time, you must practice self-other exchange. This is a very profound secret instruction. If someone wishes to protect themselves and others and be free from fears of samsara and nirvana, then they need to practice the exchange of self and others. Furthermore, regarding the faults of cherishing oneself and the virtues of cherishing others, the way of the Bodhisattva explained, all happiness in the world comes from wishing happiness for others. All suffering comes from seeking happiness for oneself. This is very important. In the past, I also asked everyone to memorize this verse, right? Just knowing this is also very important for us. All the happiness in the world arises from benefiting others. All suffering comes from self-interest. Why say more? Ordinary fools seek only their own benefit, while the sage seeks to benefit others. Note the difference between the two. No need to say more. Look at ordinary people all day long. They struggle for their own interests, and in the end, they are extremely miserable. The Buddha and his followers, on the other hand, benefit others, and in the end, they have already attained accomplishment. The difference between us and them is already very clear. Regarding the faults of not exchanging, the way of the Bodhisattva explained, if you don't exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others, no attaining Buddhahood nor finding joy in samsara. No Buddhahood. If no empathizing and don't exchange self and others, let alone becoming a Buddha, even your own life would be very painful. There is no happiness in samsara either. This indirectly shows the benefits of exchanging self and others. It also uses logical reasoning to explain how to remove obstacles to exchanging self and others. The meaning of exchanging self and others mainly refers to being attached to oneself or not cherishing other sentient beings. These two attitudes need to be exchanged with the other attitude. One should love all beings just as one loves oneself. Therefore, we will develop the heart of loving others as loving ourselves and sacrificing ourselves for benefiting others. If we love others, it should be just as we love ourselves. If we let go of ourselves, it should be just as we would let go of others. Cultivate this mindset in practice. This is also stated in the Ratnamala, may all sins ripen upon me, and may I offer my happiness to all beings. This is also an aspiration. May I take upon myself all the suffering of beings, and may I give my happiness to all sentient beings. Furthermore, in the way of the Bodhisattva, it is said, give up oneself completely for others and love others as oneself. In the mind training teachings, it is said, self is the root of all negative karma and should be abandoned. Many great masters of the past frequently recited this. Because the self is the root of all negative actions, it is something that should indeed be given up. Others are the source of enlightenment and should be embraced. Other beings are the source of enlightenment. Relying on them, one can practice all 6 paramitas, so they should be embraced. On this point, Venerable Atisha also said, desire and anger give rise to deluded misdeeds. Practice exchanging self and others in your mind. He also said, offer all happiness that arises to others, and take all suffering upon yourself. Dedicate all benefit and victory to others, and take loss and defeat upon yourself. These are the words of Atisha. Previously, we had the teachings of Venerable Langri Tangpa in the 8 verses of mind training. But these were actually originally spoken by Venerable Atisha himself. This was probably around 1000 CE. From the late 900s to early 1000s, this was the time of Atisha. Then in the year when Atisha passed away, Langri Tangpa was born. I think Langri Tangpa was Potowa's disciple. Atisha's disciple was Dromtonpa, and Dromtonpa's disciple was Langri Tangpa. It should be like this. So what we often use in practice, give victory and benefit to others, take loss and defeat upon oneself, actually originates from Atisha's pith instructions. Geshe Chekava said, all worldly people cherish themselves more than others, but we should cherish others more than ourselves. When I first read this, I felt this was excellent. All ordinary sentient beings love themselves, the self is more important than anything else. But as a dedicated Mahayana practitioner, what we should do is loving others more than ourselves. Actually, these great masters' words are very concise and brief, but the meaning within them leaves us with a very deep and lasting impression. And also, they explain the reasons in detail, the faults of cherishing oneself, and the many virtues of cherishing others. Let's stop here for now.
Bandara